ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोर्श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूप स्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थेषु भिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्म हृदय आदि कवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 12, verse number 11. This is teaching of Jad Bharata to King Rahuguna, and he is explaining him about the absolute reality. Reality is only one, and it is manifest in different ways. It has various types of energies, various types of potencies, qualities in it, but ultimately it is only one. So this is the principal teaching of Vedic literature. All the people are confused. They think that the Vedas or Hinduism teaches polytheism, many gods, many deities. No, it teaches about variety in the unity. Because absolute reality is not just qualityless, formless, homogeneous stuff. It has variety in it, and yet it is one integral unit. There is nothing which is independent of the absolute reality. There is nothing which exists outside it. There is nothing which can exist without it. But everything is not absolute reality. Everything is within it, but every part does not mean that every part is the complete unit. So therefore sometimes there is talk of oneness and sometimes there is talk of difference, because both things exist simultaneously. And because both things exist simultaneously, then people become confused, because they like only one thing. Either it is one or it is different. So So there are three major manifestations of the Absolute. One is the Bhagavan, the Supreme Person, who is having form, qualities, associates, his own abode, his own liking, disliking, his own activities. And he has his own place, therefore he is not here, he does not exist in the material world in his original form. He may come down as an avatar, and then he manifests himself as the controller of living beings and material energy, that is the Paramatma. That is what we call God, or people when they speak of God, usually they know only of Paramatma and nothing beyond that. So he is therefore called Creator, is called the Controller or the Destroyer. All three functions exist in him. But he is not the ultimate manifestation of the Absolute. Ultimate manifestation is Bhagavan. And then there is the qualityless manifestation, which is called Brahman. So these three are all stated in this particular verse, and this is how Bhagavatam began in the very beginning. When Sonaka Rishi has asked Sutta Goswami that what is actually the knowable, what is to be known, because we have the faculty to know, and we are trying to know many things. But the real object of knowledge is this tattva, or the reality, the absolute reality. There is a story in the Upanishad that one boy, Svetketu, he went to study in Banaras. Studied there for 12 years, came back to his father's house. His father Aruli, when he saw him walking in, he understood that the guy has not learned, because the way he was walking. As Arjuna asks in Bhagavad Gita, how does a Sthit Pragya walk? Because Sthit Pragya has his own way of walking, own way of speaking. So when he saw this, he could immediately, because he himself was a realized person, the father, therefore he was able to perceive it, others were not. So when the boy came and paid respect to the father, he just asked him one question, that have you learned that one thing by knowing which everything becomes known? Yasmin vigyate sarvam vigyatam bhavati. Because he knew that if I ask him other things, he will answer. If I ask him a question about Jyotish, he will answer it. If I ask him about grammar, he will answer it. If I ask him about Ayurveda, he will answer it, because he studied all that in Banaras. But he missed the real point. So he pressed his heel. And he said, do you know that one thing? By knowing which everything becomes known. So the boy was completely flabbergasted. He never expected a question like this from his father. He almost dropped to the ground. And he looked at him and he says, no. He was sincere in answering. He could have also started covering up, but he did not do that. He says, no father, I don't know that. He says, then my dear son, don't enter the house, please go back. Because what is the use of coming here? You go to Banaras and come back with all this load of knowledge, which is just like a burden of a beast. Because if you do not know that, what good is the knowledge? Ya vidya samukte. Knowledge is that which can liberate you from the bondage of material world. Knowledge is that which can solve your problems once for all. Knowledge is that which can give you peace and happiness eternally. And if it is not doing that, then it's just a burden for you. It's only creating trouble one after another. It makes you proud. And then after some time your neck will start paining because of the pride. So then you have to go to a psychotherapist. Please for So the boy went away. So then there is a big talk after that. So the same thing is described in the Bhagavatam in the very beginning. That Dharmasya hi apargasya narthorthai kalpate. That dharma is not meant for making money. Religion is not for making money. You have a temple, you have a church, put a donation box, people are coming, make life in books, and then make money. That is not the purpose of dharma. He says it is aparga, it is to give you liberation, to make you free from the pavarga, all the miseries of papa, bhavana, all types. So, dharmasya apargasya nartho arthai kalpate. And arthasya na indri priti. And the artha, kamasya na indri priti, labhoji arthasya, kamasya na indri priti, labhoji vete yavata. And the sense objects, artha is not meant for kama. Because people think that if I have money, then I buy objects or sense pleasure. Everybody thinks like that. What is the use of money? Buy something which you can enjoy. So he says that is not the purpose. Kamasya na indriya priti, and the kama is not, the sense objects are not to please your senses, but so that you can survive. Because we have to live. Therefore our senses need some food, even if you take some smoothie and lubricant. So the idea is that you survive. Life has its purpose. And what is the purpose of life? So jivasya tattva jigyasa nartho yasya iha karma. The purpose of life is not to make money. It's very clear. Nartha says the purpose of life is not that you have 2 jobs and you make a lot of money, but to know the tattva, to have tattva jigyasa. That what is the reality, what is the ultimate thing behind everything. And then what is actually tattva, that is described. Vadanti tat tattvadas tattvam yasnyanam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdat. So tattva manifests in these 3 forms, and this is exactly what is Bharat is speaking here. This is a very, very profound verse, very powerful verse. It is actually the essence. Even the big philosophers don't understand this verse. So it says, Jnanam vishuddham paramarthamekam anantaram tu bahir brahma sattvam pratyak prashantam bhagavad shabda sangyam yad vasudevam kavayo vadanti. So the absolute reality is Vasudeva. Vasudeva comes from the root vas, which means which lives everywhere. There is no place where this does not exist. Yo sarvatra syat sarvada. And not that it is existing now, after 2012 it will not exist. No, it exists in all time and all places. There is no time and place or object in which it is not there. There is nothing which can limit it. An object can be limited either by time, that it exists today, it does not exist tomorrow. It can be limited by space, it is existing here, it does not exist somewhere else. Or it can be limited by another object, that it is one but different from another. There is space. Space is everywhere, at all times. And then there is also time, which is everywhere and at all times. But space is not time. So Vasudeva is not like that. He is in time and he is in space and he is in beyond. He is beyond both. So all time, all space, all objects, he exists. That is the meaning of Vasudeva. Therefore Krishna says, Bhavanam janmanam ante jnanvan mam prapadyate Vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurla. That when one really becomes jnani, knowledgeable, realized, after many births, after toiling hard, experiencing everything in various species of life, various human births, then when one comes to realize the truth, he becomes a jnani, then he surrenders to Krishna. So everybody is not surrendering to Krishna because they still have many things to learn. When one surrenders to Krishna, that is the ultimate achievement of human life. So then they understand that everything is Vasudeva. So he says such a person is very rare. Manusyanam sahasresu kasyad yatti siddhe yattam api siddhanam kasyad mam viti tattvata. So to understand tattvata, to understand in reality, this is the most rare thing. So that is what Jad Bharat is speaking, because he is a realized person, he has seen the truth, and therefore he speaks of it. So this absolute reality is not the truth of the Buddhist people, this Vijnanavad or Chaudikavad, because this is Satyam. Their thing is not Satyam. Their thing is Sunya. It is neither Sat nor Asat, neither real nor false nor Sat Asat. Not either one of them, not both of them, and not. So he says this is Satyam, that it exists in past, present and future, and there is nothing which exists without it. And this is conscious. So then we were reading the commentary of Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, and he explained these words and he gave quotations of all Brahma, Paramatma and Bhagavan. अत्र भग शब्दस्य ऐश्वर्य वाचित्वात् ऐश्वर्यस्य च ईशितव्य अपेक्षितत्वात् ईशितव्यानां मायिकानां च उक्त्युक्त्या मिथ्यात्वात् भक्तास्तं धामवासिनैव ईशितव्या नित्या अवगता तेषां तद्धाम्नश्च नित्यसत्त्वं भगवतैव शब्दप्रमाणसिद्धमेव प्रथम स्कन्धादौ प्रपञ्चितमेव तथैव मत्सेवायां तु निर्गुणं मन्निकेतं तु निर्गुणम् इत्यादि एकादशे भक्ति संबंधी वस्तु मात्र से नित्य सत्त्वं प्रपंचयति च. So now he starts elaborating on this more. He is taking the word Bhagavan. Bhagavan is made from the word Bhaga plus Van, which is a suffix in Sanskrit, which is applied in the sense of possession. It's a Matap suffix that becomes what? The original word is Bhagavat. When you decline it, it becomes Bhagavan in the similar case. So, Bhagavan therefore means a person who possesses Bhaga. And Bhaga has various meanings. Asvarasya samagrasya viryasya yasya jnana vairagyasya api sharnam bhavite. The 6 things together are called Bhaga, the controlling power, the mystic power, the opulence of beauty, renunciation, knowledge. So these, and physical strength, these are called Bhaga. So one who has these things unlimitedly, that person is called Bhagavan. So he says the word Bhagavan naturally signifies that there is some control, that if he has this, because Aishwarya itself says controlling power. The first of these 6 things is Aishwarya, which means he has the power to control, and if he has the power to control, then there must be somebody to control. Because there is no meaning to your power if you cannot execute it or you cannot apply it. So that's what he is referring here. He says, Atra Bhag Sabdasya Aishwarya Vachitva. The word Bhaga predominantly means Aishwarya, majestic power. Aishwaryasya cha ishitavya apekshitatva. And Aishwarya or power signifies that there is someone who is to be controlled, or on which this power has to be executed or applied. Ishitavyanam maikanam cha uktyuktya mithyatvat. And he said that there is no point in Bhagavan trying to control the material world, because in the previous verses he has already shown that this is not real. Because he says, is the atom real or the objects which are made from atoms real? An atom, he said, is imaginary. So these objects which are made from atoms are also imaginary. So what is the use of controlling something imaginary? You sit down, close your eyes, you think you are the king, you have people working under you, you are ordering. It is meaningless. Then you have no power. So since he has real powers, so he must have real people, real objects under him to control. So therefore he says that forget about this creation, there must be some real bhakta tadham vasane visitavya. So therefore he has his own dham, his own abode, his own kingdom, and there are devotees living who are under his control. So they are the one who are controlled by him. And then they have to be in eternal, because God is eternal. Because God is eternal, therefore his powers are also eternal. Anything which has eternal, an object which is eternal also has eternal qualities. Everything about eternal is eternal, because eternal cannot have temporary qualities. Then he will become temporary. So just as temporary objects have temporary qualities, eternal objects have eternal qualities. So if he has the quality to control, then he must, and that quality has to be eternal, then the people whom he controls must be eternal too. And therefore the place where he lives must be eternal also. So therefore his place is eternal, it is never destroyed. The material world undergoes through the cycle of creation and destruction. But the spiritual world does not undergo any change like that. And the devotees, the people who are living with God, they are also eternal people. Their bodies are eternal. They don't die, they don't become old. So nothing undergoes transformation here, there. And the reason for that is because time does not have its influence over it. Natatra kala vikrama. Kimuta hare pare. So there is no maya there. Na sattva rajastamasya na cha kala vikrama. So there is sattva rajastama. These things don't exist there. And the influence of time is not there. Time is there, but it does not influence objects as it influences here. Here everything is depleted or transformed by time. This is the law of matter, that everything is continuously changing by the influence of time. But in the spiritual world, time cannot have such an influence. So therefore everything remains eternal, ever fresh. So that is the meaning that Ishatavya Nitya Avgata Tesam Tadhamnascha Nitya Satyatvam. And therefore their abode, the place where they live, that is also eternal. It's real and eternal. Bhagavata eva Shabda Pramana Siddham eva Pratham Skandhada. So he says that we have already shown this earlier in the first canto. These things were already stated there in the prayers in the second, third canto, especially. When Brahma sees the abode of the Lord, there is a big description of all these things there. So tathaiva mat sevayam tu nirguna iti mandiketam tu nirguna mitya adibhi ekadase bhakta sambandhi vastu matra seva nitya satyatvam putanchishate. And then in the 11th canto, Lord Krishna himself speaks to Uddhava. There he will also speak. In 25th chapter he talks of the gunas. So he speaks that there is vanam tu satviko vasa. Forest is sattvic, village is rajasic, city is rajasic, and the places of liquor, etc., they are tamasic. But then he says that my manniketam tu nirvanam, that my temple is, or my abode is nirguna. Beyond any guna is transcendental. And nirguna means that it does not undergo any change. And he also talks about activities, that activities which are performed as a duty without any motive, they are sattvic. Those which are performed with material desire, they are rajasic. Those which are performed in ignorance or to harm others, they are tamasic. But mat sevayam to nirguna. But any activity which is done as service to God, that is transcendental, that is not material. So this is stated by Krishna himself in the 11th canto. So he says that everything which is related to bhakti, bhakti sambandhi vastu matra seva, nitya sattvatvam prapancheswati. Anything which is in relationship with bhakti, that is eternal, real and free from the gunas. And that is because bhakti is itself free from the guna, it itself is transcendental. So whether it is kirtan or chanting of the mantras or puja or worship, this is all free from the gunas. So now he says that the essence of this teaching which he is giving is as follows. He gives a very good analysis. Prakarana prayascha ayam says that the intention of Jad Bharata is as follows. This is what he is trying to convey to the king. Bho Rajan, yusmakam prataksha adi pramana siddhasya api vyavaharasya maya jivasya maya lachitasya nitya avarhita kvapi tirohitasya yanena swamatena कालदेशादि परिचिन्नत्वात् नश्वरत्वम् अंगीकुर्वता कालदेशादि अपरिचिन्ने तत्वे चिद्घन वस्तुनि व्यवहारो वैजात्यादेव नाश्रियते इति उक्तम् तदपि व्यवहारमेव पुनः पुनरुत्थापयसि चेत् एनम् अन्ये वादिनो मिथ्या एव आचक्षते इति तन्मतम् उदाहरितम्. So he says that you yourself understand that things which you perceive with your own senses, with direct perception, you know that these things are all temporary. There is nothing permanent. Nobody has any experience of anything permanent in this. Anybody has? That there is anything permanent here? No. The only experience of permanent is we ourselves. Besides us, everything is temporary. And yet we are running after the temporary. This is the misfortune. That we are eternal and we are only absorbed in the temporary. So he says, this is, you yourself said that all the things which are known from our prataksha pramana, direct perception, they are all product of Maya. And Maya rachitasya nitya avrita, and therefore they are manifest and unmanifest. This was already discussed in the previous chapter, that even our life, we are awake, then we sleep, and we wake up again. So not that we are always awake or we are always sleeping. So things are always changing. So he says, therefore everything which we experience is limited by time, because it is changing, and by place. Everything is not everywhere. Everything is limited in some XYZ coordinate. So kal desadi parichinnatvat naswaratvam angikurva. So you accept that these are all perishable. They are destructible and nothing is permanent. Kal desadi aparichunne tatve. So this is called vyavahar. There are two words used, vyavaharik, satta and paramarthik. Paramarth means eternal, real, transcendental, beyond the purview of our sense perception. And Vyavahar is this empirical or day-to-day practical reality which we experience, which is within the purview of our sense perception. So the king was always talking about the Vyavahar, and Jad Bharat was talking about the Paramartha, this transcendental. So now he is explaining that why did I speak the way I spoke earlier. So he says, because I am talking of something and you are always trying to drag me down to the Vyavahar. I am trying to uplift you to the absolute reality and you are pulling my leg to the material realm. This is the tussle which goes on between a spiritualist and a materialist. Materialist says that you come down at the level of my platform and try to prove spirituality to me. And the spiritualist says that if you want to see spirituality, please leave your platform and come to my platform. So he says that I don't believe in it, how can I come? So it's like you want to learn swimming and you go to a teacher and he says, please teach me swimming. So he says, okay, come jump into the pool. He says, what? Are you crazy? I don't know swimming. And you are saying jump into the pool, I will drown. He says, no, but I am there, I will teach you. So he says, no, I am not entering the pool unless you teach me swimming. And the teacher says, I cannot teach you unless you come inside the pool. So this is the tension. So the materialist wants that we should prove the spirituality at his level. And the spiritualist says that it is not possible. If you want to see it, you have to come to my level. So they don't want to come to the spiritualist level and they say there is no God, there is no Atma, there is no soul, there is no life after death, there is no rebirth. They speak all these things. Because at their level they are right. Because at their level obviously there is no God of materialism. There is no soul, there is no rebirth. Only these senses exist which you already said they are all mithya. So this is what Jad Bharat is trying to tell him, that you please leave this and understand the tattva which I am trying to explain. So Vyavaharo Vajatya Deva Nashriyate. He says these are Vajatya, means that belong to two different classes. It's like two different channels on a TV. You cannot see them simultaneously. Either you see this channel of materialism or you see the channel of spiritualism. And you say, well, you are hooked on to the materialism, and you say, I don't see that other program you are talking about. So it's like you have these holographic pictures. One is seeing it from one side and he sees Radha Krishna, and one is seeing from the other side and he sees Lord Shiva. And he says, well, I'm seeing Shiva, what are you talking about? And he says, no, it is Krishna. So to see that, you have to come and see from his perspective. And if you don't see from that perspective, then it's not possible. So therefore he is saying that you leave that and you come to my level. And then only you will be able to see the reality. Because this reality cannot be seen from your level of perception. They are different. Tadapi vyavaharameva punar punar utthapyasi ched enam anyavadino mithyavachakshati. So he says, because you are always talking about vyavahar, about the materialism, therefore I refuted all that and I gave the opinion of others. It is not Bharat's opinion that all this is not real, but just to shock him, to wake him up. He says that I have given tanmatam bhagatam, I have given. Sabda praman siddhe tattve tu tepi ne vipratipadyante iti antene jnanam vishuddham iti padyamuktam. So he says, as far as it comes to the sabda pramana or the authority of the scriptures, he says even those people who say that the world is not real, he is referring to the Advaitvadis, the impersonalists, followers of Sankaracharya. He says they also have no problem. He says therefore now I am speaking of Shastra, from the scriptures, Jnanam Vishuddham, because these are statements from the Upanishad. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. ननु देहेन्द्रिय व्यापार है श्री कृष्ण एक निष्ठो भक्ति रीति भक्ति लक्षिता तस्याश्च लक्षणं भक्ति योगस्य निर्गुणस्य इति उदाहरितमिति भगवदुक्ते निर्गुणत्वम् अंशीयते तच्च परिणामवादे कार्यस्य सत्वात् प्राकृत देहे इंद्रियादीनामेव भक्ति संसर्गेण अप्राकृतिकत्वं तस्मिन् ज्ञानेनैव साधु विद्यामहे विवर्तवादे तु कार्यमात्रस्य एव सत्वात् देहेन्द्रियादीनां मिथ्याभूतत्वात् भक्ते स्थितिरेव नास्ति कुतस्तस्य निर्गुणत्वं घटताम्. So now a question is raised about bhakti. Because bhakti or devotion to God is considered as transcendental, spiritual, or beyond the material gunas, beyond matter. So this was already spoken by Lord Kapila, Lakshanam Madhva, Bhakti Yogasya Nirgunasya Udaharita. That this Lakshan was given Devanam Gunlinganam, that famous verse, Sattva means everything. So Madgun Suti Matrana Mai Sarvguhasaya Manogati Ravichina Yathagangam Soda Lakshanam Bhakti Yogasya Nirgunasya Dharitam Ahitkeva Vitaya Bhakti Purushottama. So Bhakti Yoga was described earlier as Nirguna or transcendental and not related with Sattva, Rajas or Tamas. And then by the contact of Bhakti, everything becomes transcendental, just like there is a belief that there used to be some philosopher's stone. In Sanskrit it is called Chintamani or Sparshmani, touchstone. So the belief was that if you touch anything with the philosopher's stone, it will turn into gold. So he says, he's giving an example. He says, just like a touchstone or philosopher's stone turns iron into gold by touching it, like that bhakti is like touchstone, that if it contacts a person, that person becomes transcendental. If it contacts his activities, then his activities become transcendental. Anything which is touched by bhakti becomes transcendental. So he says this is how we understand. But Vivartavad, the school of Advaitavad, Shankaracharya's philosophy, who says that only Brahman is real and this world is not real. So they say that the world is just like the appearance of snake in a rope. Sometimes you mistake a rope for a snake. So you see the snake, but in reality the snake is not there. When you throw the light, then you only see the rope. So that snake is not real, it is an appearance. That appearance is called Vivarta, and therefore this philosophy is sometimes called Vivartavada, or the philosophy of appearance. Appearance means it seems to be like that, it is not. In reality it is a rope, but it seems to be a snake. So like that Shankaracharya says that actually all this is Brahman, what you are seeing. It seems to be worldly objects, table, chair, computer, but actually it is all Brahman. Sarvamidam Khalu Brahman, Upanishads also say, it's a famous statement. And this, on the basis of this only Shankaracharya makes this philosophy. Because this statement from the Upanishad says that all this is Brahman. So he takes this statement to be literal. And this is all Brahman, and therefore whatever appears is wrong. The meaning is that it's manifestation of Brahman's energy. In that sense it is Brahman. But he takes it literal, and therefore he says that the world is not real, it is only an imaginary thing. Karya matra seva sattvat. Therefore karya matra means everything which you see around you is asat. It is not real. Dehendriyadinam mithya bhutatvat. And therefore our body, our senses, they are also not real ultimately. Bhakti sthitireva nasti. He says, in the bhakti or devotion you execute with your body, mind and senses. But if your body, mind, senses, they are not real, then how can bhakti be real? If the ingredients themselves are not real, then whatever is performed with them is also not real. This is Shankaracharya's argument against bhakti. So therefore he says, Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya, Jivo Brahmeva Naparam. The world is not real, only Brahman is real. So, Slokardheni Vakshami Adittam Sastra Sahasrami. That whatever is described in thousands of the Shastras, I will give the essence in half the sloka. That is the essence. Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya, Jiva Brahmeva Naparam. So he says that bhakti itself therefore is not real. Kutastaya nirgunatvam gattam. So how you say that bhakti is transcendental? It doesn't even exist. So this is an argument from Shankaracharya. Tathahi nirgunam bhakti mayam updeshtavya iti guru updesh kale. So now he is explaining how bhakti is real. This is very interesting. Hear this carefully. He is now really giving some tattva. He says, Nirgunam bhakti mayam updeshtavya iti guru updesh kale updesht vyanjanasya mithya bhutatvad akash kshetre bij vapnam eva guru updesh eva tavan na bhavet. So now still the argument is going. He says, well, bhakti is transcendental and guru is giving bhakti. So at the time of he gives the diksha or he gives instruction, then one gets the bhakti which is nirguna. So he says, but the guru himself is not real and his instruction is not real. So how can bhakti be real? So they have another statement. He says, Guru mithya, shastra mithya, shastram janyam jnanam mithya. He says, Guru is not real, Shastra is not real, knowledge of the Shastra is not real. What are you talking about? So everything comes from the roots. So he says, if the land is not there, where is the question that you are going to sow some seed and some fruit will come out of it? It is ridiculous. It's like throwing seed into the air and then expect then you will get a tree out of it. Kutaha Krishna Bhakti. So he says, where is Krishna Bhakti? Where is devotion to Krishna? Kutastaram tadabhyasena premodaya. And then you say that you chant Mahamantra and you will get prema. He says Mahamantra itself is not real and your chanting is not real. Then where will the prema and the love will come? What is the possibility? Kutastamatena bhagavad vasikara. And then you say that when you have prema, then God becomes controlled by you. Because God is supposed to be prem vasi bhuta, prem vasya Krishna. That God becomes controlled by the love of his devotee. So he says, what joke you are talking about? You are just fooling everybody. Iti satyam. So this up to here is the Purupaksha. This is the argument of the opponent. And now he answers from here. So he says, please listen. Don't be so impatient. Just give us also a little chance to speak. So he says, Mahachintya Shaktau Bhagavati Kapi Asambhavana Na Bhavi. So he says, we have already spoken about Bhagavan. And Bhagavan or Supreme God, he has one characteristic that he has powers. We already spoke of that. But his powers are inconceivable. Inconceivable does not mean that we cannot conceive of it. It means that these powers are trans-logic. They are beyond logic. They are not working just within the range of logic only, but they surpass the human logic. and therefore God can do things which you cannot understand with your logic. Therefore in the Vedanta Sutra there is a statement that Tarko Pratishthamata, that if you want to understand God simply by logic, then it is the same example as I said, that the materialist is saying that if you want to show me God, you come down at my level. So you cannot bring God to the level of materialism and then try to prove it. If you want to know it, you have to raise yourself to the spiritual level and then understand. So by logic alone, it is not possible. Logic has its value if it works to support the Shastra. But simply logic by itself is just like a car without petrol in it. It's very nice, but it is not going to work without petrol. So without Shastra, logic is like that. When Shastra is there, then logic is very important. Then use Shastra and bring your logic and prove. So therefore he says that understand that God has inconceivable power. Because even in this world, there are certain inconceivable things happen which defy logic. If you heat anything, it expands, right? And if you cool it, it contracts. But water at 4 degrees centigrade, you start cooling it, it starts expanding. No logic can expand. Right? Why should water expand when you cool the temperature from 4 degrees downwards? And it goes on expanding till 0 and then it again starts contracting. So this is inconceivable, this is illogical. So he says that just as there are in this world also, in the famous double-slit experiment of wave and particle, that is also defies logic. But this is called inconceivable. But we cannot deny the process. We cannot deny the activity. We cannot deny the experience. It happens. So he says similarly God has inconceivable power. And he can do things which your logic cannot understand. Yaduktam svayu bhagavatam. He says, as Lord himself has said, Esha buddhimatam buddhir manisha cha manishinam yat satyam manrite neham marte napnoti mamritam. He says, Lord himself has said this. This Krishna speaks in 11th Canto. It's a very nice statement. He says that this is the intelligence of the intellect of the intelligence, and this is the wisdom of the wise. People talk of wisdom, they talk of intelligence, they talk of being very clever and smart. So he says this is the smartness of the smart. If you are really smart, if you are really wise, if you are really intelligent, if you are really clever, then this is what you should do. And that's what he says is that Yat satyam anritena iha martena apnoti mamritam. That by this temporary material body you can achieve me, who is absolute eternal truth. So this is illogical. Because if our body is temporary, whatever you do with it, that action will also be temporary. Actions are temporary anyway, because activity simply means it has a beginning and an end. So how is it that by temporary body which performs temporary acts, you can achieve eternal object? It does not make sense. Because the effect is dependent on the cause, and if the cause is temporary, the effect will also be temporary. But Krishna says here that with this temporary body, with this temporary life, this limited span of your life, you can achieve me, which is absolute real, Mam Ritam. So this is beyond logic. It is possible because he is saying it. It's not impossible. But certainly defies logic. No?
Who can define logic?
Hmm?
Who can defeat logic?
I'm saying it is contradicting logic.
It's contradictory.
Because logic says that if something is temporary action will only give temporary result. How can temporary activity can give permanent result? How can a temporary object, you use something temporary and you get permanent result? Body is temporary. It says it is martya, everybody knows. It's satyam amrita. So he says you can achieve the satyam, ritam, absolute reality. So this is, he proposes here. So by this he is explaining how it is, he is giving a hint how it is possible. So there's still a lot of commentaries there. We will read it tomorrow, because then he will explain how bhakti works and how with the temporary material body you can actually achieve the permanent result. He goes into a very elaborate explanation of this. We'll read that tomorrow. If anybody has any question on this.
In the beginning, when you gave the definition of Bhagavan,
What is that?
in the beginning you gave the definition of Bhagavan, and sometimes in Shastra it's also used not for Krishna and Vishnu but for other deities. So does that mean that
Where, which Shastra?
I don't know exactly now, but sometimes it's used for Shiva and
I never heard that.
no,
Where did you read?
I can't remember now. But I read it somewhere.
The word Bhagwan is used for Shiva also.
No.
But that is in the secondary sense.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And while Bhagwan is used for Narada, for
Yeah,
Sukadeva.
exactly. So there's a secondary sense. So how would one know which senses apply?
How would one know?
If one speaks about Bhagavan and it's not specified who that person is, then a person who accepts Shiva as the supreme will think it refers to Shiva.
Yeah, so you have to study the Shastra, because Shiva himself is saying, I'm not Bhagwan. In Bhagavatam, he says, he's carrying Ganga on his head, which is the Charanamrita from Krishna's feet. He says, yes, I'm carrying this. So many places in Bhagavatam it is stated. Even this Tridevi Upakhyan is there, where Bhrigu goes to test who is supreme among Vishnu and Shiva and Brahma. The story of the Bakasura, Lord Shiva gave this boon.
So the term itself is not really...
Every word has their primary meaning and their secondary meaning also there. So I'm telling this is the primary meaning. So primary meaning is the original meaning which applies to the original object. Then it can also be, because Bhagavan means great, some respectable person.
And personalist says that bhakti is illusory.
When?
But bhakti is an illusion. At the same time, they use bhakti, also what they call bhakti, as a means for liberation. Like Shankaracharya, he wrote many prayers for Krishna also. The famous quotation, I don't know if it's true or not, Bhaja Govinda, Mudamate. So it seems that they are promoting bhakti, in the same time they are denying bhakti.
No, they are promoting in the sense they use this as a means to attain their goal. Because they say that Vita Jnanatma Mukti, that liberation is not possible without jnana. But it says everybody is not qualified for that, so those who are not very intelligent, who are dull-headed, so then they should do bhakti. so that they can fix their mind somewhere. So they think that bhakti is not for the top class people. It is for less intelligent. But therefore, for them, bhakti is not their goal. They use it.
But they use illusion to gain
Yes.
mukti. Strange.
Because no, it is not strange. We are existing in the illusory world, so to get out you have to use only illusory things. Only he is saying Shastra is also mithya, Guru is also mithya, but you have to use them to get out. Like they say, iron cuts iron or diamond cuts diamond. Or poison is also antidote for poison. So they utilize it, but this is not their goal. And you give up. Like a ladder, you use the ladder to go to the roof and then you kick away the ladder.
And I stay all the time on the roof.
Yeah. Once you become realized, why do you want to come down?
Yeah. But if they say that everything is Brahman, right? Means also this illusory part is also Brahman.
Yeah, that's why they say that this illusion is created within Brahman. It's an appearance. It's like the rope and snake. So snake is an appearance of Brahman. It is Brahman which is appearing like a snake, and rope appearing like that. So it is Brahman which appears like that.
And another thing, this Papa, Mama, kind of that you were saying in the beginning, that you had mentioned it. And
That
now-
is Apavarga means liberation, which means not Pavarga, means Pa, Bhava,
Papa, Mama.
means Pap, means sin, Fa means pain, means labor, Ba means bondage, Ma means mrityu, death. So you can be free from it.
So when you say everything is illusion, it means it's illusion because it's temporary.
Now, from which philosophy are you asking question? You are asking from Advaita point of view or Bhakti point of view? Advaita people, they say that it is an illusion, not in the sense that it is temporary, but it is actually an illusion. This is what Advaita philosophy says. We don't say that it is an illusion, we say it is temporary, it is real. But it is temporary, it is changing, it is also energy of God. If God is real and the world is created by Him, why would He create an illusory world? What is the need? So there is no need for that. Because if He is real and His energies are real and He uses His energy to create, then creation also has to be real. But reality can be permanent reality or changing reality. So this is the changing reality. So we also use the word Maya, they also use the word Maya. For them Maya is not real. Our Maya is real. Because it is, she is a servant of God or she is Prakriti, she is actually existing. For them Maya also not real. Because if Maya becomes real, then it will not be monism, it will not be Advaita, it will become two. Then there is God and there is Maya. So Maya is not real, yet this Maya covers Brahman and makes the world. It covers Brahman and makes the Jivas, because everybody is Brahman according to them. We are also Brahman. And Guru Asmi. And this is all because of Maya, which ultimately doesn't exist.
But then what is the purpose?
Purpose is to get out of this dream.
Why? What's the idea? What was the Krishna's idea to create Dvaita philosophies? Like, why are they existing?
Why
No,
they
no,
are
no.
existing?
Advaita philosophies. Why exist? Why Advaita philosophies exist? So impersonalist. Why on this planet we need also impersonalist teachings? What's the idea? Why?
Well, idea is twofold. One is that there are people who like it. You may not like, but there are many people who like. And from our point of view, it is there so that we can understand our philosophy better. So that we don't carry confused ideas in our head.
That's true. To prove some misunderstanding.
And to create a contrast so that you can see the object more clearly.